In today's day and age, especially in the spiritual community, we hear this word starseed being tossed around like a rag doll. And it's leaving people the impression that it's really cool to be a starseed. And in one aspect, yes, it is, but nobody actually talks about the negative aspects of being a starseed. It's so bad that it's to the point to where everybody wants to be a starseed, and if they find out they're not, they become upset, as if for some reason we've been given this idea that if you're a starseed, you are better than like a long-term human or somebody else. And that is not the case at all. Me personally, when I use the term starseed, what I am referring to is a being who has never been here before. Now, I know that some people say, no, starseeds have already graduated and, made it through the Earth School and they're coming back to help. I don't use the word starseed for that. That is just simply volunteer. Volunteer, I think, is an even bigger blanket statement that covers a bigger number of different types of beings who are here with different responsibilities. What I'm talking about is somebody who is not from here, who has not played the Earth game before. And this is what leads me into my point that on one end of the spectrum, yes, it is pretty cool. Okay, we got a cool assignment. We've come here to help change things and help things evolve and get rid of the old system and whatnot. But on the other end of the spectrum, the assignment really isn't a fun assignment. Let's talk about some of the things that actually suck about being a starseed. I think the number one thing that sucks the most, and this is very misunderstood by lots of different people, you don't fit in to anything. Now, I know that a lot of people act like that is very virtuous, and it is. But usually the people who look at this as something virtuous are people who have fit in and they understand what it's like to fit in and they're tired of fitting in and they want to do something different and they want to make a change. That's totally cool. However, when you are one of those beings who has never, ever fit into anything, any group, any clique, any crowd, anything, from the moment you set foot on this planet, you had a big target on your back. You are broadcasting frequencies that are very different than anything anybody has ever experienced before. That makes for a pretty difficult journey, especially throughout like your younger years. When you're younger, when you're a kid, you want to fit into something. And we starseeds, at least once or twice in our life, we attempt to fit in. And in our attempt to fit in, it makes us look even weirder, which puts an even bigger target on our back. And it's very difficult. Many starseeds experience being bullied, being laughed at, being ganged up on and picked on by everybody because we're just weird. There's no real way to explain how weird we are. A real, true, blue, genuine starseed very likely is not going to fit into any clique, any group of people, any ideology, any way of thinking, no matter where they go, no matter what job they get hired at, no matter what school they move to, no matter what class they're in, whether they're in the lower class, middle class, upper class, no matter where they go, they don't fit in. Everybody's always looking at you like, you're a weirdo, because we aren't really familiar with the human game. The thing about it is, though, is that is the point. You're not supposed to fit into the human game. That's not your assignment. Matter of fact, to the contrary, your assignment is to come here and do one specific thing, and that is dismantle the human game. This 3D human game that has been being built for who knows how long, it has been worked on by the long-term humans for decades and decades, centuries, maybe even more. And we came here to dismantle that. So do you think that is going to be an easy thing to do? No, it's not. the long-term humans, the bots, the backdrop people, everything that is a part of the game that we came here to help change are going to fight against you. You're not going to come here and dismantle the 3D human game like it's an easy breezy walk through the park. It's just not going to happen that way. Those who have spent decades and decades and centuries and hundreds, thousands, millions of lifetimes building the third dimension and everything that holds it together, they're not just going to let their game go without a fight. It's not going to happen. Okay? You will be made fun of. You will be called crazy. You will be labeled all these different types of slanderous labels and all these different things. And you have to put up with it and keep going, because what you're doing is you're planting seeds. And you may not even realize the seeds that you're planting, but you're planting seeds, okay? And it's kind of random. You never really know if you're planting seeds in fertile soil. Sometimes you do. Sometimes the seeds that you plant are in just shit soil that are just going to get stomped out and they're never going to bloom. But you are planting seeds that over time will begin to bloom. And your average starseed, another thing that they deal with a lot is drug addiction and alcoholism. I would have to say that the overwhelming majority, probably not all, not necessarily all, but a huge number of starseeds struggle with addiction and alcoholism. Because when they volunteered to come here and play this game, from the other side, it doesn't look that intense. It doesn't look like much. Most beings underestimate the third dimension Earth game until they get in here. And then once you get into this game and you experience what it's like to be in this heavy, thick, dense skin suit that moves so slow and it's just so miserable and so uncomfortable that a lot of times addiction, alcoholism, that's the only escape from this incredibly uncomfortable experience of being in a human body for the first time. I can remember very vividly, consciously asking myself, why does this hurt? Why is there always some kind of pain? No matter what it is that I'm doing, something hurts. Whenever I get up and walk, something hurts. Whenever I sit down, I'm not 100% comfortable. Something is uncomfortable. Something is always uncomfortable. Being in this body is uncomfortable. I remember as a kid and even up through my teenage years questioning why this is. And I look around and I'm like, there must be something wrong with me. Nobody else seems to feel this way. And then the first time I got really, really, really high, I remember saying to myself, wow, this is the first time that I have felt completely numb. This is the first time I have experienced what it's like to be in a human skin suit and not feel pain and not feel discomfort. This feels great. This is amazing. This is the key to my happiness and my comfort here in this experience. And I would have to say that probably a very large number of starseeds struggle with addiction and alcoholism for the very same reason. Because it's almost impossible, it's not impossible, but it's almost impossible to wrap the mind around the fact that the whole point of the 3D human Earth game is to learn how to be comfortable, uncomfortable. That's the whole point. Listen to any motivational speaker. Listen to any law of attraction guru. Listen to any fitness coach. Listen to anybody. I don't care what area or what facet of human life you're in. Listen to anybody who is incredibly successful at anything. They will all tell you the same thing. You have to lean into discomfort. You have to face your fears. You have to deal with and put up with the fear and the anxiety and bulldoze through that and not let that hold you back. As a matter of fact, you have to take that energy and figure out how to transmute it properly so that you can actually use that energy as fuel to get things done. And this is how the 3D human game is played. And that's almost incomprehensible to many, 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 many different starseeds. That's the reason why. One of the most important things you can do as a starseed is find a long-term human who is coming out of the game, okay, in big, bold, capital letters, coming out of the game, and try to form a relationship with them, form a friendship with them. I think the best spouse that a starseed can have is a long-term human coming out of the game, because you can help each other, okay? You're helping them come out of the game that they have spent millions of lifetimes playing. You're helping them remember the true nature of who they really are. You're helping them remember that this is just a game that they're playing, that they're just wearing a costume, pretending to be this character. You're helping them remember that. And they are helping you understand the ins and outs of the human game. So the two of you can come together and help each other. And both of you together with this exchange that you have can play through the game. Because that's the objective. You still have to play the game. You're not just going to be able to come in here and kick the tower over and dismantle the 3D game overnight. You have to get in, you have to start playing it, and from within, plant the seeds. Teach the teachings. Help people remember. Coach people through the awakening process. Guide people down the right path while you're playing the human game. This is why it's very important that you listen to what the long-term humans have to say, whether you like them or not. There's lots of long-term humans out there that I don't really agree with everything that they say from a moral standpoint, but I listen to what they have to say, especially if they are a very skilled energy worker. You can be an incredibly skilled energy worker and still use your knowledge of the behavior of energy in ways that aren't morally right. That's fine. You can be a very skilled energy worker, and I'll still listen to what you have to say because my moral compass is dialed in. I can recognize a true skilled energy worker. And just because you choose to use your knowledge of energy in ways that I don't agree with doesn't mean that I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to everything the long-term humans have to say. And when I hear something that I don't morally agree with, I'm going to chuck it. Just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean they don't know what they're talking about. Divine energy is simply divine energy. Okay? It's just like anything else. It depends on who is utilizing it. But regardless of who is utilizing it, learning how it behaves and how to utilize it is the number one priority. Now, I'm going to back off that path just a little bit because I'm starting to go down a totally different, topic, and it's a different story for a totally different video. However, for those of you who are out there thinking that it's so cool to be a starseed, I want to be a starseed, think again. It's not as cool as you think it is. Okay? There's nothing wrong with being a long-term human. There's nothing wrong with any game that anybody is playing here. Everybody is here playing a very specific game for their own reasons. Because every single person that is here on this planet is going through their own personal, idiosyncratic, private soul lessons and experiences. And one person's game is not better than or worse than another person's game. One person's lessons are not better than or worse than another person's lessons. Okay? So don't get upset if you find out you're a long-term human. Okay? Because if you're a long-term human, chances are you're better at playing the game than the starseeds anyway. Okay? There is no better than or worse than. And I know this kind of sounded like a bit of a negative video, and that isn't really my intention. My intention is to highlight both ends of the spectrum for awareness purposes and informational purposes only. All right, well, I know at least one person needed to hear that. And as long as one person takes one thing that they heard me say and uses it to totally transform their life, my job is complete. I'm out of here now, y'all. I wish you love, luck, light, and prosperity on your journey. Y'all stay blessed.